My name is Howard Eason, and I know I haven't cooked with you in a while. So today I thought I would bake. We are going to make a lemon zest pound cake made with buttermilk. Oh, it's going to be fantastic. And it's very easy. So I have already pre-measured all of my ingredients. So you can follow along. I know that I posted ones before and you had to follow along, but I'm going to give you the ingredients up front. So today you're going to need 2 sticks of butter, which is 1 cup. You're going to need 1 3/4 cups of sugar. That's been measured. We're going to need 2 2/3 cup of all-purpose flour. Also, I have measured out here 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Also 1/4 teaspoon of salt. In addition to that, we have 1 1/4 cup of buttermilk. We're going to use that with our wet ingredients. We are going to add lemon zest, so we're going to need at least a tablespoon of lemon zest, and I've already zested the lemon, so I just probably need to squeeze the lemon juice. So we're going to need 5 tablespoons of lemon juice. Okay? All of this is going to be cooked at 350. I've already turned the oven on to 350 at the beginning of the process, so it can preheat. And once it's in the oven, it only takes about an hour. So, all right, so let's get ready to do this, okay? All right, so first I'm going to just start with my butter. So I'm just going to add the 2 sticks. They've been out, so they're at room temperature, so it's very soft. So you just want to scrape that out and get that in the bottom of the bowl first. So, I mean, it's always good to leave it out in the refrigerator because if it's too hard, then it takes too long. And I like to go ahead and have that taken care of. Set it out at night if you want to, you know, especially on these. It's fall now, which is my favorite season. So it's good you can sit this out, you know, overnight if you want because it's a little cooler in your home and in your kitchen. So, or you can just do it the day before. The day of, and just let it sit out all day. All right, so we have those 2 in. And so the next thing we want to do, this is going to be all of our wet ingredients. So what I want to do next is add sugar because I want the sugar to blend in with the butter now. So like I said, it's going to be 1 3/4 cups of sugar. So this is 1 cup here. And then just let me measure out another 3/4 cup. Let's see, 3/4. That's about got it right there. So we're going to put both in. All right, so we're done with the sugar. So what I want to do is make sure I get all the butter off the spatula that I'm using. You can put it right onto the blade. I want to lower my blade down. And this is the KitchenAid. Oh, I love KitchenAid. I'm just saying. So anyway, I added this to my kitchen not too long ago. And it's been the best. I used to kind of hand mix and I used to do all these other things. But anyway, I have this now and we want to lock it in place. So I have I have it down, and so what I'm going to do is just start it out slow, blend, and then we'll start incorporating a little faster because what we want to do is get it to a very creamy state. And at that point, we can start adding in other ingredients. While that is happening, I'm going to go ahead and crack my eggs because that's going to be the very next thing that we're going to add into the dry ingredients. Excuse me, the wet ingredients. So this requires 4 eggs. So I'm just going to go ahead and crack them into this bowl so that I can just incorporate them as they're blending with the sugar and the butter. So just be careful. I mean, if you get any egg pieces in there, shell pieces, you can just scoop them out. Just use a part of the shell to just scoop it in there and get it right out. It should come right out for you. So I'm just going to do 4 eggs now. And you don't need to blend them or anything, just leave them whole. All right, so that's all set. So now I'm gonna speed this up just a little bit more. And so now it's starting to get a lot more creamy. Now if you were using cold butter, this process would be much longer. But since it's already room temperature and soft, then it's blending with the sugar quite nicely. And so now we have a really creamy mixture here. So what I want to do next is start incorporating the eggs. And what I want to do is slow it down once again, and I want to incorporate one egg at a time. So how you do that is just take your bowl, and you can see each yolk is separated here. So you want to just pour in until a yolk goes in. So that's about one egg. So we're going to let that blend. We're going to keep the mixture going. And once that is fully incorporated, let's just go with the second one. And I'll just continue this process until all 4 eggs are incorporated. And let's get that in there. All right, so we are good to go with the eggs. So there's no more need for eggs, so you can clean that all up. I'll clean this up. So I want to turn up the speed just a little bit, just to make sure everything is blended and incorporated. So I think we have a really good looking mixture here so far. So the next thing that we want to do is start incorporating our dry ingredients together. So what I'm going to do is, now that this is blended, I'm just going to shut it down for now. I'm gonna, excuse me, move this to the side. And we're going to start our dry ingredients. So what I have for dry ingredients, this is already a pre-measured 2 2/3 cup of all-purpose flour. So this is always good. So I always like to use the unbleached. I mean, you can use bleach either way, but you know, my preference is the unbleached, because it just gives a nicer look at the end. And plus, since we're dealing with a yellow cake, it will make the cake a little bit more yellow once you cut it, because it's going to be lemon flavor. So to this, we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. All right, and also 1/4 teaspoon of salt. All right, so I just want to incorporate that. I like to use a wire whisk, because that helps to get it all incorporated into the, it's almost like mixing it manually. So yeah, I like to use this because it gets it a little bit more incorporated, okay? So I think that is good enough. So now what we do is the combination process, right? So we want to mix the wet with the dry, and we can do that all in the mixer. Now, this can get a little bit messy because, you know, the mixing dry ingredients in here, it can, you know, it'll dump it out a little bit. So, but we want to be as careful as possible when we put it in there. So I'm just going to put it in small doses. Now, the other thing that we need to do is incorporate our wet. So we want to make sure we're going with a lemon pound cake. So we want to use our lemon zest to flavor the inside of the cake. So what you need here is 1 tablespoon of lemon zest. So I'm going to pack that down into this tablespoon here, right? So we have a healthy portion here. We're going to use some of this for the icing as well. So, and what I want to do is dump this inside of my buttermilk. So like I said, there is 1 1/4 cups of buttermilk in here. So, and then I can just take a spoon here, mix that around a little bit. And so what happens here is that we're going to alternate putting in the flour and the buttermilk, so that we don't get all of that splash with our, with our flour and the dry ingredients adding into the wet ingredients. So I'm going to turn this back on. And so now what I'm going to do, let me get a spoon here. So what I want to do now is to start incorporating this flour mixture into this wet mixture. So I'll just kind of get it in there, 1 scoop at a time, let it, do its thing. I'll probably do 2 of these, and then I'll start incorporating some of the buttermilk. This is to help loosen it, and also, like I said, we are flavoring it now, because now we're adding the lemon zest in there. So I'll continue this process until until all the flour is out of this bowl and all the buttermilk is gone. So we want to make sure that we just alternate until the end, and then we just keep the mixer going on low. Okay, so now I have incorporated the wet and the dry ingredients together, alternating with the buttermilk. So I'm just going to scrape the sides down, make sure we get all of that buttermilk out of here, because that is going to help loosen it and also add the flavor, because it also has the lemon zest in it. So, okay, so here we go. So I'm just going to scrape down the sides. As you can see, I did have a little bit of a mess going on here, but don't be afraid of that. I mean, it's fine. We only lost just a minimal amount of flour, but we want to scrape down the sides to make sure that everything gets in and it's incorporated. So I think it's mixed enough. So now is the good part. We can start baking now. So it is as simple as that. So we only had a few ingredients here. We had butter, we had sugar, right? We mixed that together. Then we add our dry ingredients, which were flour, baking soda, salt. We added that in a separate dish. The third thing was to incorporate the lemon zest and the buttermilk. And then, oh my God, it was simply the best. Now, the last thing I want to do is just incorporate some of the lemon juice into this as well, because we want that real lemon flavor. So I these are the lemons that I zested. So I want to take this, and I've already started the process here. So I want to get juice from that. So let me just clear some things out the way, and we'll go through that process. So just give me a minute here. Okay, so I am back with you. So what we want to do now is just squeeze the juice out of these lemons. And these are the same lemons that I used to make my zest. As you can see, it's already been zested on the outside. And I used approximately 4 to 5 lemons in order to get that tablespoon plus the additional that I'm going to use for the icing. So what I want to do here is, let me get a cutting board really quick. And what I want to do here is cut the lemon in half. And sometimes you can add this to the microwave for about 30 seconds to loosen it up, but these have been sitting out at room temperature, so they should be fine. So I am going to juice these. It's not going to take very much to get your 5 tablespoons. So I would say, depending on the size of the lemon, it'll take maybe 1 or 2 lemons. All right, so that's 1/2. And I love this little tool. I do have a electric juicer, but you know, I just like this because it's a small job. So just take a little muscle power, and then you'll get exactly what you want. So, and then plus this helps to remove the seeds. See, there you go. So now I think I have about 5 tablespoons there now. So what I want to do now is just mix that into I want to incorporate this into the mixer. So I'm going to turn this back on. I am going to use my measuring spoon, and let's go with 5 tablespoons. Okay, let's go 1. And we can add this very slowly so that it's all incorporated. 1, 2, 3, 4. See there? I used 2 lemons, so you know, and we'll have the remaining for the icing. So that was perfect. 2 lemons was perfect. So let's get that in there. All right, so we'll let that blend for just a moment. And I can see that it's a lot more fluffy. Oh, it's fragrant too. I can actually smell the lemon. So this is going to be a really, really good cake. Nice. Oh my God. So anyway, it's a showstopper. I'm making it for an event, so they are going to love it. So I think this is incorporated. So now it's about putting it in the pan and then just baking it, right? And we're going to bake it for 1 hour at 350. Let's scrape this down so that we have all the batter in here. I want to make sure that we have every bit, because it's going to be so good. Oh my gosh. So anyway, now that is done, what I want to do, let's remove it. And let me tell you, you want to use this bundt cake pan, right? So one of the hacks that I use, or one of the tricks that I use to save time, instead of butter and flour, oil and flour, I like to get this already incorporated spray. So it already has the spray, the nonstick spray with flour. So I like to use that, especially on a bundt cake pan, because you can get on the sides really well. You don't have to worry about all those nooks and crannies not being covered. So I like to fully coat that with this spray and flour mixture. So from here, I can take off this. What I want to do is make sure, let's move this aside. And what I want to do now is get this into my bundt cake pan. So what you want to do now is just kind of scoop in, make a turn as you go. This is the way that I like to do it. So I'm just making sure that everything is incorporated. Okay, there we go. Nice mix here. Okay, so this is just going to be so flavorful and nice in here. So I just want to scrape all of this and get it in the bowl. And then what we're going to do is just get it in the oven. So I'm going to do all of that. And then shortly I'm going to show you how to dress it with the icing. So about an hour later, I'll come back and we'll be right back to finish it off. So in order to make the glaze, there are a few simple ingredients. Basically, it is 1 cup of confectioner's sugar, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. You have 1/2 teaspoon of lemon zest, and also 1 teaspoon of melted unsalted butter. So basically what you do is just blend them all together. So add your confectioner's sugar, lemon juice, lemon zest, and last, the butter. Blend this all together. Just comes all together. And of course, if it's a little too runny, you can add more confectioner's sugar. If it's not runny enough, you can add just a little bit more water, or either just some more lemon juice. So you just blend this all together. All right, and as you can see, it's a nice consistency. It's kind of a little drippy, which is the consistency that you want to glaze your pound cake. All right, there we go. You just spread this on your pound cake, and this is the finished result.